waste my life. I don't wanna waste my life. I don't wanna waste my life. Living in this world.
On the beats.
It's just some things, there's no going back. You know what I'm saying?
jwoodbeats.com.
Yeah, I'm not the one with the issues. I hear you, now here is your tissue. If I'm moving too fast, I might have to dismiss you. And it's really too bad, cause I really will miss you. But I'm not the one with the issues. I left him at church when I made it official. I murdered the curse with my own benediction. Left God in the dirt, call it death of the fiction. Superstition will be served in eviction. Competition will be left in the ditch. Oh my God, it's too damn hot in this kitchen. The fishes of men are now swimming with fishes. Oops, my bad, I guess I'm moving too vicious. Verses sold, I gotta put them on your wish list. Bless my soul, cause I'm dodging your little hit list. I guess you know, you just lost another witness.
Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go right now. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go, I'm out of here. I can do anything, fuck your opinions and energy. I finally got the epitome. My biggest hindrance was God can't do nothing but fail. Greater is me. I never needed your deity. All of this human capacity. When it gets rough, I can pick myself up and prevail. Cause I don't need anything other than people who fuck with me. Good business, it starts with good company. That's why your boy is obsessed with community. Cause greater is we. We can create opportunity, doing what God never did, cause a God never could, but a people is all we need. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go, yeah. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go right now. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go, yeah. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go. What's up, family, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the Ex-Pastor Call-In Show. So glad to have you here with us tonight, man. I mean, I don't know how many of you were with us last month, but this thing has been absolutely phenomenal. This is the most popular show on our channel so far, and it's really easy to see why. So I'm absolutely loving it. Give me just a few moments here. I'm working through some technical difficulties here to make sure that Kyle can get in. It seems like he might be having some trouble. Oh man, but listen, welcome to the Ex-Pastor Call-In Show, which is a byproduct of The Bridge, where we're committed to helping people find community, support, and resources beyond religious presuppositions. We host this show monthly on every first Sunday, offering a safe space for non-believers, skeptics, and free thinkers who crave conversation and solidarity. If there's a topic you've always wanted to explore with a pastor or an ex-pastor, tonight is your chance. Tonight is your chance. So let me hit a few quick announcements while we're getting set up here. First one is, let us know where you're watching from. As you know, we're building out a map. And as of now, that map has spread not only just all of the United States, but we have supporters in Canada, we have supporters in Mexico, Central America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia. It's just absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I don't know about you, but that makes me excited. So listen, if you would, let us know where you're watching from in the chat. Let us know your city, your state. If you're overseas, if you're across the pond, as they say, let us know. However y'all do that. However y'all do that. And then, of course, we actually have Bridge City Weekends coming up, which is an event that we're planning on doing in 4 places this year, starting in Raleigh, North Carolina. And so if you're in the Raleigh area and you want to help with this event, please let us know. And for that weekend, we're wanting to have it all. We're going to do Bible study with an ex-pastor, Sunday sessions, and ex-pastor call-in show live. We're going to have some festivities and some activities and some other things going on top of that. And something that I'm really excited about, I've done more traveling this year than I've done in a long time. I mean, wow, I've been traveling a lot. but it has been in conjunction with a community or a documentary rather that is about people who have deconverted and deconstructed. And so we finally wrapped up production on that. So I'm going to get as many of the cast members who are involved with that as possible to do a show with us. And I'll kind of go ahead and show you what that graphic looks like. Where do I go? Where do I go? Everything has changed. Here it is. Heathens. The name of the documentary is Heathens. And so this will be Heathens Unleashed. We're going to have all of our cast members with us that day. And we're going to have a good time telling you what this experience was like. And they're going to be sharing some of their deconversion stories and deconstruction stories. And then, of course, I did mention we're going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina. This is one of those places where we've been building up quite a hub. So we want to go there and do some people-centric celebration and have a good time, right? And then we'll actually be in this little series, Happy Little Accidents, when we come to Raleigh. So again, if you're in the Raleigh area and you want to support, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to have you as a part of this explosive event. And then also we got something else coming up. Jason and I are going to be doing a content creator exclusive for everybody out there who's working on content right now and trying to find a way to maybe enhance your content. Jason is going to speak to that from a production standpoint, the quality of your content. And I'm going to speak to it from the context of your content a little bit. So we're going to team up and it's going to be a good time. That's either going to be late January or early February. So please keep your eyes peeled. And I'm trying to type at the same time and it is not working. I'm typing all types of stuff. All right, so great. So I hit my little announcements. This is what I want to do. We're going to take a little interlude here so I can help Kyle because this show wouldn't be right without having Kyle in here. So if y'all will give me a moment, what I would like for us to do is let's run that music back and let's put the intro back just for a few more moments. And I do apologize for the inconvenience, but I got to help my brother get in. And so if y'all will bear with me real quick, we're going to run that music. It's just some things, there's no going back. You know what I'm saying?
jwoodbeats.com. Yeah, I'm not the one with the issues. I hear you. Now here is your tissue. If I'm moving too fast, I might have to dismiss you. And it's really too bad, cause I really will miss you. But I'm not the one with the issues. I left him at church when I made it official. I murdered the curse with my own benediction. Left God in the dirt, call it death of the fiction. Superstition will be served in eviction. Competition will be left in the ditch. Oh my God, it's too damn hot in this kitchen. The fishes of men are now swimming with fishes. Oops, my bad, I guess I'm moving too vicious. Verses sold, I gotta put them on your wish list. Bless my soul, cause I'm dodging your little hit list. I guess you know, you just lost another witness. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go right now. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go. Gotta let me go, gotta let me go, gotta let me go, I'm out of here. I can do anything, fuck your opinions and energy. I finally got the epitome. My biggest hindrance was God can't do nothing but fail. Greater is me, I never needed your deity. All of this human capacity, when it gets rough, I can pick myself up and prevail. Cause I don't need anything.
All right, we are back at it. We are back at it, and I do appreciate y'all's patience today. Kyle is having some technical difficulties with getting in, so we do have someone helping him right now. So let's go ahead and get this show open up. I see we already got some activity in the chat, so before I even do my little spiel, let me see what y'all got going on. Let me see what y'all are talking about out there. I hope y'all are as equally as excited as I am. I see Norbert in the building. I see Muttley in the building. Sharon is in the building. What's up? Of course, Kyle is in the building, the other Kyle, and then Captain Desk. All right now. And so I love the fact the conversation is jumping on. Y'all are some of my favorite people in the world, and I'm glad to be here to be able to spend a little time with you. When I first walked away from my role as pastor, I remember feeling entirely unmoored. I used to close out every year with a lengthy list of spiritual goals and devotions for the upcoming months, with all of these bold declarations such as by this time next year. But after my deconstruction, I had no idea what to do with those old rituals and traditions. It was confusing, isolating, and at times even pretty scary. How do you set new intentions when the framework you used to rely on is gone? Over time, though, I realized that it actually wasn't a loss. It was an open canvas. I discovered there's incredible freedom in creating your own resolutions without feeling bound to please or placate a higher power. I began to make commitments based on genuine curiosity, self-improvement, communal well-being, and personal growth, rather than on meeting someone else's standard for holiness or righteousness. It took a while, but I learned I could set goals that come from my actual values, and none of those values required a God. I also found out, as you also found out last week, that I wasn't alone. I met more and more people, some of which were ex-pastors, some lifelong skeptics who were channeling their energy into projects, dreams, and changes that served humanity first, people-centric. Together, we discovered that we can still have meaningful traditions, rituals, and resolutions that connect us to our fellow human beings without any supernatural strings attached. And so tonight, as we celebrate the turn of a new year, our theme is, what's your godless resolution? Maybe you've moved past a religious worldview, or maybe you never had one to begin with, but you still want a sense of purpose and direction. Perhaps you're excited about exploring who you are outside of religious constraints. I know I am. Or maybe you're ready to dream up new ways to build community rooted in human-centered values. And again, I am. This is the conversation we want to have tonight. What are you shedding and what are you embracing as we embark on another year? How do we encourage each other to find motivation, meaning, and fulfillment in a world we see as fully natural, yet still so full of possibility? Wherever you are on the journey, we're here to listen. In just a few moments, you'll have the opportunity to join our screening room and share your experiences, ask your questions, and voice your hopes. We want to know, how are you envisioning your life, faith-free, but still brimming with purpose this year and beyond? We're getting ready to dive in, so get your questions ready and follow the links that we'll have on the screen and in the chat to enter the conversation. We look forward to hearing your voice and your godless resolution for the year ahead. Let's make this next chapter something truly worth celebrating. No deities required. Whatever your thoughts, we love to hear from you. And in a few moments, you'll have the opportunity to join the conversation. So let's get this show started. And as you can see, Kyle is still having technical difficulties. I was really hoping that was going to be a good enough intro to where they would have been like zipped up, but it didn't work like that. And so if he's watching, I hope he's laughing. Because now I got to wing it, but it's a good thing I come from the charismatic branches of Christianity. Every Sunday was winging that shit. This is pretty much what I do. I was born for this, but no. One of the things that we've started doing that we've kind of made tradition around here is reading the comments that other people left on the most previous shows or some of the previous shows. And so I do have a few of those so that I'll do while we're waiting for an update on Kyle. Do we have an update on Kyle? Okay. Do we have anything that looks like we may know what it is that we can help with? Y'all forgive me for a moment. Oh, there's an app. Yeah, it's new to me. All right. So he's trying to get in, y'all. He's trying to get in. So I'm gonna read some of these comments. Are y'all ready for that? Do y'all mind? And while I'm reading the comments, let's do this. Let's stimulate some conversation in the chat. The question tonight is, what is your godless resolution? And I did see somebody say, look, I'm not much of one for resolutions. I can't keep the resolution of stop overfilling my metaphorical plate with things to do more than a few days. But still, I appreciate the idea. I 100% get that. because I am the same way. I have a really hard time of not adding extra shit to my plate. It's like I can't help it. I just got to keep on keeping on, man. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Oh man, I love it. Okay, so let me read some of these, and y'all got me caught up in the chat too. So, Skeptical Vet said on one of our previous shows, this was a comment that he left, and I love this. Love a variety of atheist agnostic content, but man, you two sharing a screen and just talking about your experience is something I never knew I needed in my life. These conversations feel different from every other atheist show I watch. A very good, different. Love it. And I absolutely love that. Man, the only thing I would love more is if Kyle was here with me right now so he could hear that. Like that's real value. Like that, the smile on my face, it's a real one. It's a real one. Another one we got from Olivia Johnson, 7602. She says, I connect very much with the point that you lose yourself and lose so much time. Thankfully, I fully deconverted at 23, now 24, still trying to find myself and find what's right for me without feeling the pressure to conform to anything like I was taught growing up. Oh man, that resonates with me so much, because I know a major part of my own journey was getting comfortable realizing that I was not going to conform, that me making any decision that I felt was in my best interest was going to be somewhat unconformist to the people, who I thought I had the strongest relationships with. So it's terrifying at times, because I know I grew up feeling this constant pressure of be what they need you to be, or be who they want you to be, or be what's more comfortable for them, as opposed to just being yourself. And so my wonderful deconversion and deconstruction journey has been me learning how to be myself and be okay with it. And that's been a beautiful thing. Like, even when I was still in the closet and still kind of counseling people as a pastor or as a minister, I would kind of give people this exercise. Okay, let's just pour you all out on the table, all of you, the good, the bad, the ugly, with no judgment. Just pour it all out on the table. Get it all out first. Don't allow yourself to judge it, because if you allow yourself to judge it, you won't actually get everything out, because you'll try to hold that back, because you'll say, oh, that's too ugly. Oh, no, oh, that's too bad. I don't want it. No. You got to get it all out on the table without judgment, and then look and see what it looks like. And then that's when you come back and take that look and say, okay, am I okay with this or nah? Am I good with this or nah? This, and some of the things that you probably thought were ugly are things that you really don't even give a damn about. It's just, no, this ain't ugly. It's other folk who thought this was ugly. This is beautiful to me. And so that pressure of conforming is so major, so major. Oh, y'all are too funny. I'm seeing y'all in the chat now. Oh man, y'all are too funny. Goodness gracious. That's right. No longer allowing fear to stifle the drive, thus making inactive. That's right, man. Oh my goodness. Being bad at acronyms. Y'all are funny. Y'all are funny. All right, let's see. I got another one. This one is from Rainy Feathers, 9148. This was 3 weeks ago. So this was 3 weeks ago then. So I don't know when it was. Kyle's right. Church is a bump. All those years, all that potential thrown into bottomless echo chambers. That's why some people can't leave. Imagine you become a whole deacon in the church, but your life outside is a desert. What is there to go back to if you leave? Not being funny. Some people have a fulfilling life in both church and their secular life. I'm just saying, I've seen more people hurt trying to leave the church than people leaving secular life to join church life. But that's just what I've seen. Well, I think we all know that church hurt is so common right now. Church hurt is so common that if you're Christian and you decide that you no longer want to be a Christian, the very first thing that most people are going to say to you is, well, you must be suffering from church hurt. The fact that that's the first thing that they're going to say lets you know that's how normal it is to get hurt in church. And the fact that somebody would have the gall to say some shit like that is literally them saying that that's not a valid reason to leave. No, it is absolutely a valid reason to leave anything that is hurting you. It amazes me at the toxicity that comes from many of these churches today, where they literally tell people, even if it's hurting you, stay there. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, no. church hurt is a valid reason to leave church. Church hurt is a valid reason to take a second look at your faith, at a second look at your beliefs. It's a valid reason. Man, you was told you had a call on your life and Satan was blocking it. Damn, like Satan is the fucking MVP because he's always getting shit done, right? Like, that's crazy. It's like God can't get a damn thing done, but like, shit, Satan is up there goaltending and everything. Ain't nothing getting past him. Ain't nothing. Reception, no, interception. He's catching everything. What the fuck? Like, oh man. I think and that's probably been the weirdest thing about my deconversion. And it happened like the day that, and it was 2014, the day that it happened, I was just like, damn, this God is so weak. Like, the only way you could think this is a strong representation of a character is if someone told you in advance that this character was all powerful and you better not think anything less than that. That's the only way you could read this book and think this character is like you can't even think this character is smart at this moment. It's a weak God. He's weak. He's very weak. What I just know from history, anytime you have to kill your child, you are in a position of weakness, not power. Nobody in a position of power has to kill their own child to pay for a debt. That sounds like that's your debt, bro. If your child had to die, that's your debt. And now you're trying to make me feel bad, telling me you died for my debt. I ain't had no damn debt. No, ain't no debt in the world worth me killing mine, bro. You and I, we is not the same. You know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness. Yeah, God has no leadership skills at all, Like, I constantly have to remind people, like, because, there are people who deal with the fear of hell, And I tell them, if all of this shit is real, hell is probably the safest place you can be. He's already fucked up heaven. There was a war in heaven. This perfect place that he created, that he's trying to tell you, come up here because it's perfect. There's a fucking war going on there. Did you miss that part? 3/3 of the angels get kicked the fuck out. That's what happens there. Yeah. And then remember he did Eden. That was supposed to be his pride and joy. That shit didn't last for 7 days. He had to kick them out. At this moment, God comes off like a slumlord. You know what I'm saying? Very much so, like a slumlord. I bet the Garden of Eden had like a bed bug infestation or some shit like that. Like, I can almost, y'all know I can talk about this shit all day long. All right. So I don't know what progress. Well, let me see. I haven't looked in the private chat either. I don't know if we've made any progress with Kyle yet, but we do have a call. All right. I'm ready for him. Yeah. All right. So it looks like we do have a caller. They'll get the information up on the screen and we'll take it. Oh, snap. Not a Netflix special. You know what? Don't put it past me. Don't put it past me. Oh, snap. I love y'all. Especially since I'm having to do this all shooting from the hip. I am shooting from the hip. Oh man, I hope Kyle can clear his cache and cookies because I need them. See, what y'all don't know is what I like about having co-hosts and stuff is that I can sometimes get off the screen and take a drink and just be okay and just be, but now y'all just gonna see me drinking this ratchet ass drink all night. I hate to disappoint you and offend your sensibilities, but this is what goes down over here in this corner of the South. Oh man. Oh, that's nice. Somebody said hello, first caller. That is sweet. There's so many songs that go through my head when I hear hello. I was actually at a funeral one time, and the song Hello from The Other Side started playing in the middle of the funeral. That was hilarious. Thank you, Norbert. I appreciate you, bro. Got to get that loco on, man. Oh, bro, because honestly, your boy is tired. Like, it's been a long week. It's been a long year. It's been very productive, but productivity definitely has a cost. It has a cost. Oh man, so I'll just keep talking till our caller is ready. Satan like Wimby up in here. Yeah, man. Like, yeah, that's what I was like. Satan, and I think Kyle mentioned that on one of our previous call-in shows, that Satan just never fails to get shit done. Like, Satan is on point. Like, if I believed in any of the shit, I'd be on his side. Like, that's the winner. Why would I pick the losing team? I'm not gonna do that. This isn't the Mighty Ducks. That's not what this is. No, this is real life. Oh my goodness. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Satan out here working, bro. Satan put in work. He put in work. God can't do a damn thing, apparently. I think it may have been Dan Barker who coined the phrase "nothing fails like prayer." That is such a truism, you know. And I think one of the hardest things for me to deal with in my life is that I spent a lot of time with unanswered prayers trying to pretend like they were answered, because that's the lengths you have to go to protect this belief, to protect this ideology. You have to pretend that something is happening, because if you tell yourself, no, I prayed and nothing happened, you got to wrestle with what that means on the other side of that. So I spent so many years saying, nah, that just wasn't his will, or no, he did something else for me and I didn't see it, and all that jazz. But now I know better. Let's see here. Do we have the banner ready up? Yes, I think we do. Y'all are on point, man, because I haven't even looked at any of this. So we have our first caller of tonight. And if y'all would give me a chat and let me know if we've made any progress with Kyle. We have our first chat caller of the night. It is Don. Oh, man, we definitely got it. So, okay, Don is in the Discord now. Awesome. All right, so Don's topic is my answer to today's prompt regarding godless resolutions. All right, let's find out.
What's the deal?
Talk to us.
What is the deal? Uhuru, everybody, good to see you.
Yay.
Always. So I had a interesting thing happen to me, and kind of my direct before I get into like sharing the occurrence that led me to this conclusion. I definitely want to say that the moral to the story, the conclusion is, to approach perceived ignorance gently. Because not only did like I come in hot to a situation, but it also and I can't share the second part, but it was turned around on me the next day in my political organization. Like it had happened to me. So what I mean by yeah. So what I mean by that, like as in I came in hot. So I'm sitting at my mom's desk. Right. And I hear her on the phone with her good friend, my Auntie Tina. So, Auntie Tina, because my mom is one of them people that always got to be on speakerphone, and Auntie Tina sound like she, in a situation, in a dicey situation. Basically, moral to the story is, literally, she was physically there while one of her 15-year-old grandchildren, Auntie Tina, was having a mental break. Right. So.
Wow.
It was just okay. So the first thing they did was, get the evangelist, my grandmother, on the phone, and they started praying, and then after they prayed, it was a lot of like benign and antagonizing commentary that simply validated the feelings of those witnessing the event, and all of the witnesses are the people who are also there, as well as anybody Auntie Tina might be talking to. So it was a bunch of like theist validation, first, as far as the ideation to unalive oneself and stuff like that. So when I heard the commentary, what's wrong with these young people? What's it? God don't want that, and God don't like ugly, and all of this, and whatever else the good Christian folks say about that type of ideation, right? Not trying to get us flagged on the YouTubes. So I came in and just because I also struggle with that, right? This was it and it was I was triggered as fuck, but didn't realize that I was triggered until like after I was like, dang, I just came in there hot. And I literally was in there, like I went in there, I'm like, what is happening? She was like, one of Tina's grand. I was like, okay, so, and y'all offered her what? Prayer and antagonizing commentary? None of y'all know. And I was like, and I was very hot about it. And I was like, none of y'all know what the fuck y'all talking about. And I demand right now that this baby be rushed to some resources that can actually help him. Your bitch ass prayer and your benign commentary is doing nothing but validating your witnessing this event. right?
Wow.
And so I snatched my mama phone up, Googled the mental health urgent care to where Auntie Tina live, right? Did that, put the number to the county, like they for example, in Orange County, California, we have NAMI OC. I think they got one of them for LA too. I sent her the number for that. I sent her every resource I could possibly think of, right?
Wow.
And for me, it was like, look at this difference, bro. Look at how I gave her some actual resources, and all y'all did was offer benign commentary. That's
Yes,
the problem with the church, and that's why I will never be in community with y'all at that level, despite being in the same under the same roof with y'all, and having been brought up by y'all. So so I sent text messages, and I kind of had to, go outdoors and stuff like that, and take me some time. Now, when I seen my mama in the kitchen, I did have to be like, hey, I'm sorry I came in hot like that.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
But it's really important to me, right, that we get our most vulnerable populations, which in fact are our youth that are facing mental health crisis, or any non-Black person, non-white person experiencing mental health crisis, because that automatically puts a target on your back. And so, and she was like, I understand that, just don't like sit up there and, come in here and tell me like I don't know nothing, or try to make me feel dumb. And I was like, granted, yes, that definitely possibly could have happened, right? I came in there hot, and I literally said, you don't know nothing, but I will not take that back. You were, in fact, in this account, not only more naive than me, but fully unprepared. So, you know what I'm saying? And the things you were saying were very egregiously antagonizing, right? So, yes, I will admit that I came in hot and belittled and kind of belittled you. However, I don't have the space to, or I don't have the mental, physical, or emotional facilities to apologize for that, because like that little boy could be me.
Yep.
And a couple years ago in this living room right here, that was me. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that I was experiencing, right, a mental break and stuff like that. I didn't know none of that. Now that I know that, and not in for lack of a better term, pulled myself through the fire, right? I keep coming up on these instances where our youth are also led to the same conclusions. Mm-hmm. And the generation of my parents, aunts, uncles, and grandparents are just unable to comprehend it.
Yeah.
Now it would be very easy for me to just be like, hey, obviously, I'm hearing the echo. Not tripping. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm hearing the echo from you, and then I want to hear your perspectives on that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Don, man. We really appreciate you. It's always great to have you on here. Kyle, man, I see you made it in. I'm glad we got you in here. Major shout out to the team for working with Kyle to get him in. That is so awesome. Now I can breathe a little bit. I can breathe a little bit. Kyle, did you catch enough of that to have some thoughts on this one?
Well, sort of. I'm just now getting audio, so.
Gotcha. For sure. Well, look, I definitely want to say what I really want to applaud here, Don, is the way you just talked yourself through that. Like, you understood what you were doing, why you were doing it, and you knew you had an absolutely valid reason to do so. And then at the same time, you still allowed yourself to temper that against your humanity as well, and say, okay, I may be coming in a little hot here. Now, I feel justified in that hot, but I can see how that may create some extra friction. So that is beautiful, and that's one of the things that I absolutely enjoy. The things that about being a humanist, about being an atheist, at least the way that I am, is that I am willing to give that grace. And so that's absolutely. We appreciate you, and I'm gonna go ahead and drop you back. Kyle, did you have anything you want to add on that, just from that context?
Sorry, I was still trying to get my AirPods to work, so I'm have to just go through the phone. So again, I think we're
having a similar problem, because these ain't working the way that I'm expecting them to.
Okay. But yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I was trying to sign in, so I had to delete the StreamYard app and then do it again. Every time I did it through the regular way, it took me to YouTube, and I was signing in and it kept kicking me out. Then I went to the app and I went to Safari, I went to Chrome, and I couldn't get in. So I deleted the app, did it again, and then it finally let me in. So
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like that was a little stressful. I know when I saw the message, I was like, holy snap, I don't know what to do. So I took some time to call my wife, and I was like, hey babe, you're gonna have to come get my phone and see what's going on. Because when you sent me the what it was saying, I was like, oh, I don't know what the fuck that is. There's like, I don't know what to tell you to do at this moment, you know. But that's awesome. Well, the theme of tonight's conversation is, what's your godless resolution? So, you know, I know when I was a pastor, resolutions was a major thing. Watch night was a major thing. My two biggest services of the year as a pastor was Easter Sunday and watch night. I used to call these the Super Bowl for our church. And every watch night, I'd always have these prophetic declarations of what God was going to do for the next year.
Of course.
And I'd have these resolutions that I'd made, you know, and I've made my declarations by this time next year. This is going to be covered, and we're going to have this and blah, blah, blah. And so now I'm thinking about that. And I'm like, okay, so what are our resolutions now? And so one of the things that I kind of hit in the introduction is that one of the most beautiful things I'm finding in people like you, Drew, and a slew of others that we had with us last time is that there are many of us who are still finding ways to use our life to help other people. There are many of us who are still finding ways to use our voice to help other people and just the things that we do. So just out of curiosity, Kyle, do you have a resolution for this year? And if not, like, how do you choose what you're doing if you're not hearing it from God and following the will of God? Like, what is your resolve to continue come from?
I'll kind of take a long way to get to my answer, in a sense. I was talking to my mother yesterday, and I love my mom. Don't get me wrong, I love my mom. But I was talking to my mom yesterday, and she called me to see if I was home, and she was in the area. She wanted to stop by. I wasn't home yet. So I said, no, I'm still out working, and so on and so forth. And so she goes, oh, okay, you know, I'm sorry I missed you, and blah, 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 blah. So she then goes on to tell me what her plans are for today. She goes, well, I'm gonna head home because I want to be rested for work on Monday, and but I'm definitely gonna go to church tomorrow. And one thing about my mom, she was a churcher. So we grew up in church, and she was a churcher. She would never miss church. But over the past few years, that has scaled off pretty dramatically, which I'm pretty shocked at. You know, ever since we stopped having our normal weekly services several years ago, her church attendance on Sundays slacked off, even though she probably still goes more than everybody else in the family, for sure. But anyway, she goes, well, you know, I went to this church, and I kind of like this pastor, and he said he's not going to preach this Sunday. They're going to do something different. They're just going to sit quietly and kind of try to hear from God, to get clarity for the year and to see what God wants us to do. And maybe God will talk through all of the, you know, the confusion and everything like that, and really try to hear from God. And, you know, this is my mom, who's been saved, you know, since I was 5. And my mom is saved. I mean, she's the saved. She wears Jesus paraphernalia almost 24/7. She's saved, you know.
Wow.
She's the real kind of saved. And I don't say this because she's my mother, but I can't. My mother doesn't lie. She doesn't lie. She won't lie. If I said, Mom, hey, you know what, I'm in a situation, I need you to tell these people so and so and so, you know, she goes, sorry, son, I can't do that. I can't do that. You know, she's saved. Okay, so saved.
Yes.
So I'm listening to her, and I no longer have any kind of God discussions with my mother, because, you know, she can't handle any real questions, and that frustrates me. You know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And there's some other stuff to that too that I just won't go into right now. But anyway, But I'm listening to her, and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm not going to say this to her because again, I don't go down this road with her anymore. But I'm listening to what she's saying, and I want to ask her, Mom, do you hear what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like a group of people who are Christians, who are believers, who say this God is their father and all this kind of stuff. You have to go to a church and sit quietly and hope
Yes.
that this God will talk to you clear enough to give you clarity for the year. Like, do you hear how that sounds?
Oh my goodness.
Do you hear how that sounds?
Mm.
You know, now years ago, I would have been under the same delusion she's under. Yes, let's go.
Yes,
We're
sir.
going to hear from God, and like you're saying, New Year's resolutions and watch night. And I used to, as a pastor, I used to peruse around the industry, so to speak, and try to get a sense of what God is saying for the new year, and
Yes.
see if it agreed with my spirit, you know. And I'd listen to different people and say, yes, I heard the same thing, and listen to someone and yes, and so that would charge me to
Yes,
from my own
sir.
personal walk and say, yes, you know, confirmation. I'm getting all these confirmations all over the place. So,
man.
you know, that's the story I kind of want to get into this, just how sad it is that believers, Christians, have to be in such a state of paralysis, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because this God doesn't talk.
Yeah.
And it most certainly doesn't talk with clarity.
Come on
And
now.
why are you keeping everyone in the dark? You know what I mean? It's just so sad from so many different perspectives. But anyway, so yeah, I don't, you know, now that I'm out of that framework and out of that delusion, if I had a Godward kind of declaration, it would be to keep trying to wreak as much havoc on Christianity as I can.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That reminds me of a scripture. For this cause was I manifest to destroy the works of the evil. I love that.
Just try to wreak as much havoc on it as I can. Just continue to try to, you know, cause enough thought-provoking, you know, information to get out there to get people thinking and just to show people I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
I'm not, you know, I'm not afraid of your God.
Nope.
I'm not afraid of the consequences of not believing in your God. I'm not afraid of the consequences for speaking my mind and questioning things. I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
And hopefully that'll inspire other people not to be afraid, because I really believe that the majority of believers are believers out of fear. I really believe that. I can't see any other logical reason that people would choose to do what they do every Sunday.
Come on now. Yes, sir.
Who would willingly get up every single week, get dressed, drive to a place, sit down and hear the same stuff over and over and over again, week after week after week, month after month after month, year after year after year? Who would do that unless it's somehow connected to fear of some kind?
Yes.
You know, either fear of, if I don't stay right with God, I'm going to go to hell, or fear of, if I don't stay right with God, he won't bless me, or fear of, you know, I've got to do this because God is expecting me of this and I won't let God down. You know, it has to be somehow deeply connected to fear, even though a lot of Christians won't acknowledge it. Because, you know, they're past the thing that drew them in, which is the fear. And now they can lift their heads and say, oh, but I love God, I love church. But how did you start?
Yes.
You know, what was the message that drew you in?
Mm-hmm.
And for 70 babies and 80s babies specifically, we know it was fear.
Sir.
It was
yes,
hell.
sir.
It was hell.
Fire insurance,
you know,
man.
That was hell back then. You know, they don't talk about it as much as they used to. So maybe the millennials and the, you know, the generation after that, they don't hear as much about it, but we heard about it all the time.
All the time. Yes, sir.
All the time. So if you're part of that 70s group and 80s group and maybe early 90s group, it was hell and the rapture. Those are the two things that drew people in by droves. And if you came in on those foundations, that fear-based foundation is still the driving reason why you do what you do. So I want to let people know you don't have to be afraid.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful, man. You know, it reminds me, and this is going to tell you how saved I was. On a ninth grade, I took somebody on a date to one of those hell houses that the Christians put together during Halloween time.
Yeah.
And it's always a bunch of teenagers who are like, it's always about teenagers who are doing things they're not supposed to be doing, like they're either drinking or they're smoking or they're rubbing on each other and some shit. And then the next thing you know, they in hell and everything's burning and they're screaming. And this was my idea of a date in ninth grade. Like I literally took somebody to a hell house on a date, hoping that she would get saved so that relationship could be sanctified after that. You know, that's how saved I was. But you're absolutely right, man. When you mentioned like there was so much of it that was fear based, and I remember there was a time when I was a pastor that it really struck me that something's not right, right? Because when you start wrestling with that, no, this is fear based. That the thing is, I'm afraid to go to hell, or maybe I'm afraid to be separated from God, or maybe I'm afraid to be separated from my loved ones in the afterlife. But there's this other scripture in the Bible. And see, this is where the Bible messes. This is where the people who promote the Bible mess up at. They keep promoting it as univocal. And as long as you promote it as univocal, one scripture can tear down all the rest of them. And in this case, it's the situation where, damn it, did I lose it? I think I fucking lost it. What did I say? What was I saying, Kyle? Take me back.
There's one scripture that tears up the whole concept that it's
perfect love.
Yeah.
Cast out all fear.
Yeah.
That became a problem for me. Perfect love. Cast out all fear. How can God be the manifestation of perfect love when it is fear that has me in a relationship with it?
Yeah.
I remember thinking about that because I was preparing to teach at a marriage seminar and to teach husbands how, no, if you're really loving your wives, and they should never be afraid of you because perfect love casts out all fear. And then when I had to switch that thing and put it back on God, I was like, holy shit, I think I just fucked up because now God doesn't make sense anymore. God cannot be perfected love if oh my goodness. Oh man, that was one for me. It was one for me. I'm glad we found it.
Yeah.
I thought I lost that rabbit for sure, man. I did. But that's the reality. So as a friendly reminder, y'all, this show streams live every first Sunday of each month. For those interested in building community beyond superstition, join us every Sunday at noon on this channel for Sunday sessions, which today's Sunday session, we had record-breaking numbers, so I'm a little excited.
Nice.
Yes, man.
I saw your post the other day. You're
man. You know what's funny? You know what I love about it is I no longer have to be falsely humble. You know, like in the church world, you have to be like, oh, it ain't nobody but God. So that's just the hand of God. It's the anointing. I glory in the Lord. Let me boast in no man. I just brag. But now I'm just like, oh shit, we killing it, man. We beasted out this piece.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
I am excited. I'm excited, and the biggest reason I'm excited though, Kyle, is because I get to work with people like you. I get to work with people like Jason. Like what's happening out here now to me is magical. Like, and if I believe in such a thing, yes,
it is.
Man.
It's someone commented to me yesterday and said, hey, we'd be surprised by how many former pastors are out here doing this. We'd be surprised. There's a lot. And I think it's inevitable.
Come on.
The dogma, the religion, the beliefs, the narratives, they don't hold water. They never held water.
That's right. But, yes.
In the light of humanity growing into a bigger part of consciousness, technology, science, education, these things are rapidly eroding the stronghold religious beliefs had on people.
Yes, sir.
And they're just too archaic. I was in a Walmart a couple of months ago, And you know how Time magazine and these different magazines, every now and then they'll do a Jesus piece, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it was Time magazine. They had a picture of Jesus, said Jesus of Nazareth. Who was he? And he was dressed in his normal Jesus garb. And I saw it and said, that dude is unrelatable.
Come on.
That dude is
Wow.
totally unrelatable.
Come on.
No
Yes.
one dresses like this, looks like this.
Mm-mm.
This dude is totally unrelatable. He
Oh,
doesn't relate
yes.
to us. He doesn't relate
Yes.
to humanity today.
Mm-mm.
You know, whenever that was, dressed like that, looking like that, fine. But you don't relate to us today.
Mm-mm.
You know,
Man.
so I think that's it's happening, and people are related. You know, starting to catch on to more and more. More this stuff doesn't relate to me anymore.
Mm-mm.
You know, it
Nope.
just doesn't. It doesn't do anything for me anymore. And
I,
people are
I love that.
realizing that they can be good human beings without
Mhm.
it. And I
Yeah.
think the pandemic played a big role in it
Yes,
when people couldn't
sir.
go to church
Yeah. Yeah.
and realized that their lives didn't fall apart
Come on now.
as the fear mongering
Ooh.
always said it would.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of people woke up out of that and said, oh, hell no, I ain't going back to church.
I'm not going back there. No. What I do
Nah,
that for? Nah.
I'll stream every so often, but I ain't getting up every Sunday morning doing that no more.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Oh my goodness. That is, man, Kyle, that's right on point. And I think you're right about the pandemic in many ways that the pandemic played a major role. Because I just remember how many churches were claiming that, the church is safe because God's power is here. And I'm like, I can't believe we still playing that card. Like we live post church bombings, post church shootings, post earthquakes where churches have crumbled and killed all of the parishioners, which I think was an event that Voltaire witnessed. And we still have that type of mentality. I'm like, this kind of blows my mind. But I think what people saw is that a lot of prominent people who claimed that God was going to be a healer and that it was going to be safe for them to still go through and do their things. We saw several people get sick, some unfortunately who lost their lives. And at the end of the day, you had those, every single one of those churches ended up deciding, all right, we're going to close down our doors for a while.
Yep.
Which I mean, and that stuff, you can only walk down that track for so long before you realize you're walking by your fucking self. It's like the that little poem about the footprints, and
Yeah.
oh, what about when there's only one set of footprints? And they say, that's when I was carrying you. No, that's when your ass woke up and realized it was just you. That's when you
That's
stopped
right.
being
That's
delusional.
right.
It's just
That's
been
what it
your
really
ass the whole
was.
time.
That's
You were
right.
drunk
That's what
when
it
you were
really
seeing the
was.
other four steps.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
oh man. Oh man. Listen, if you want your comments read aloud tonight during the show, please send us a super chat and we will read as many as we can. I do want to send a big thank you out to the teams who make this show possible every month. We have just some wonderful people in this community, and I'm always amazed at it. We have Alyssa and Kyle, the other Kyle, in the studio right now.
Yep.
And then we have my wife. She's in the screening stage right now, and she was actually able to help us get this Kyle on stage tonight. So I'm super excited. There's no way we would have been able to make this happen without everybody playing a part. If I didn't have everybody, I'd be doing stand up right now. I'd literally just be looking in the camera telling jokes until everybody got tired of me. And believe it or not, I can do that for a while. I don't mind. All right, and so of course, if you wanna call in, the information is on the screens and in the chat. Give us a call. Now, Kyle, you and I haven't had a chance to talk since the last show, not in detail. But I'm very curious, man. What did you think about the last show? We had 3 other
Yeah.
pastors on with us. What was that experience like for you, man?
It was really cool. I knew Sean. We
Okay,
actually
yes.
had spoken a few times on the phone prior to that, and we had been making plans to do something together.
Wow.
And on TikTok, sometimes people confuse us; they think we look alike, and so we kind of have the same message. So Sean, I knew a little bit. At and Drew, I didn't know at all, but I've kind of me and At kind of I've seen some of his content. He's seen some of mine, and we've been kind of following each other that way. And Drew, I was really impressed by all the guests and their stories and their perspectives of how they see things today. and I thought it was such an amazing flow. I'm not a race guy, so I don't believe in
Yeah.
races. I don't believe that races are real. We're human
Right.
beings. Yeah, we have different colors and different sizes, and we're born in different places, but we're just all human beings.
Yes,
But I
sir.
understand race still plays a huge part in the psyche of,
Mhm.
humanity.
Yeah.
So for that purpose, I'll say this. I absolutely love when different races get together and do stuff together. I love it. I
Yes.
absolutely love it. So from to see, those gentlemen and us together, talking together, chilling, I love it. I absolutely love it. Because religion isn't a black experience or a white experience or a
Hmm.
Hispanic experience or Asian experience and things like that. It affects humanity as a whole. It has always affected humanity as a whole. So when we can come together as from different parts of humanity and talk about this and be on the same
Yes.
page and relate with one another, because some of the stuff that they were saying, I thought only happened in black churches, but it
Come
doesn't,
on. Right. Yes.
So,
Yes.
some of them, some of them, I don't mean that derogatory, but some of they had
You
some of the same
people.
experiences. Yeah, them people, them over there, kind of a thing. But I thought it
Oh
was just
man.
absolutely amazing.
Man, that's so on point. Like we had a few weeks ago, we had Mark and Ann Peralta on our show from Apostate of Mind. And we had them on our Sunday morning show. And when Mark started describing what his experience was like deconstructing, and he said, yeah, because when you're Hispanic, like everybody just assumes that you're a Christian. And I'm like, what? No, I thought that was a black thing. Like, no,
Right.
but then, when he said it, I was like, I guess that makes sense. And
Yeah.
that's the one thing was just so many things, but that's one of the things that I really love about being on this side of thinking, right?
Right.
Is that I'm always open to hearing what others' experiences really are, right? Because now, when you're a believer, or at least when I was, the whole gig is pretending like you know shit that you don't
Right.
actually know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's just pretending like what the freedom that I found is like, oh, I don't have to pretend to know shit that I haven't actually tried to know. So when
Right.
people ask me stuff like, oh, wait, since you're an atheist, how do you explain the universe? I'm an atheist, not an astrophysicist, motherfucker. Those are two different things. You know what I'm saying? Same
Duh.
begins with the same
Duh.
letter, but it's a damn different thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so now I don't feel that need to pretend about anything. Now I embrace the fact that, and I say this in a lot of our stuff, that I'm a blind man touching an elephant in a room of other blind people touching an elephant. And the only way I'm ever going to get a really good picture of what it is that I'm experiencing is I'm going to have to be able to hear from other people.
Yeah.
I got to ask them, hey, what does it feel like on your side? What is it like? That's the
Yeah.
only way I'm going to get that picture. And, and that's,
Yeah.
I love the freedom of that for whatever reason. And that may not be the case for all believers, but when I was a believer, that felt impossible to do. It felt impossible just to live in not knowing and trying to discover,
Yeah, we had to know.
had to know. Yes.
The Bible says, be ready with an answer to every man.
Come on now. Yes.
We had to know. In order not to look like we weren't connected to God or we hadn't put our time in.
Yes.
We had to give answers. One thing I regret about those years of being a pastor, a lot of regrets I have, but one of the things I regret, because I'm not a manipulative person by nature. I'm not well, maybe no one is manipulative by nature, but by character or behavior, I'm not manipulative or controlling or anything like that. But in that arena, as a pastor, when people would ask me questions, I would try to control their direction with my answers.
Yes.
By trying to get them to see it the way I saw it. And then I look back on a regret because I should have just given my answers and yet encouraged them to, come up with their own conclusions. Because I would say, well, the Bible says, and what God is saying here, and I hear people still talk that way, and it really sounds foolish. It sounds so foolish. What God is saying, or especially when people say, see, what Peter was really saying was.
Yes.
And, I say, how the fuck do you know? But how the
Yes,
fuck
thank
could you
you.
possibly be so sure that you know this? You know, is
Oh,
Peter whispering in your ear right now? You have no fucking
man.
clue. What Peter was really saying here was, you don't got no fucking clue.
Nope.
You know, so I think that sounds so just stupid when people
Yes,
say
sir.
that. But I was one of those stupid people trying to be so sure about everything because
Yep.
you felt like you had to be sure.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And and honestly, that's the foundation of ignorance, right? Like I
Yeah,
tell my kids
yeah,
now, I tell my kids, intelligence is not knowing what you know, is knowing how much you don't know.
don't know. Yeah,
That's what keeps you curious. That's
yeah.
what keeps you wanting to know. That's Well, it looks like we have another caller in, so I'm excited about
Oh,
that. Let me put this
I missed the
banner
first
up.
one, so I'm here for the second. Yes, awesome.
Yes. This is Will. Pronouns are he, him, and he's calling in, joining us from Texas. He says, "How did you deal with the desire to focus your life as you did with God? And what have you all seen with hypocrisy in Christianity?" All right, there's a loaded question, but I tell you
Yeah.
what, Will, we're going to bring you up on the stage, and I want you to go ahead and give us some insight into your questions. Tell us about it in your own words.
Hi, can you all hear me okay?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So I grew up in a fundamentalist Christianity flavor and became extremely zealous before I ended up making my way out. And, I had this strong desire to focus on, something as I came out. I ended up focusing on becoming vegetarian and then vegan and then a couple of other things just to try to focus on something in my life. And I wanted to get your takes on that path that you took, because I'm sure as pastors you had this strong focus on God and pleasing God and taking care of God's flock and all of that kind of thing. And then sort of the second part of my question was how much did the existence of in my opinion rank hypocrisy everywhere also push you away from Christianity and perhaps more broadly other religions, but just focus on Christianity, I guess, is fine with me.
Ooh, okay. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much for this question, Will. I'm gonna start this one off, and then I'm gonna come back with the second end at the end. So I'm gonna answer the first part, and then I'm gonna kick it over to Kyle. So because that question actually triggered a thought for me that I don't think I've actually articulated or even thought about. But yes, because my whole relationship with God was hyper focused, right? I was one of those people who spent a lot of time praying, a lot of time worshiping, a lot of time fasting. I wanted to know God's purpose for my life, and I wanted to follow it without fail. And it definitely played a role in forming kind of my personality. And so when I deconstructed, I hyper focused on Black nationalism. Like literally, it was because I can remember like a part of that last conversation, if you will, that I was having with God was, I will never put a God over my people again. That was kind of like that type of thing. And so I mean, I was in there for a good 5-6 years, activist, very heavy. But then I was watching a lot of the same things in that community, or at least the part that I was a part of, that looked so much like the church stuff that I had walked away from. And I mean, in the most horrendous of ways, that it just kept pushing me further, because I know the biggest thing for me with my deconstruction was I got to the place where I was sincerely unsatisfied with uncertainty about things that we could be certain about. Like I could be certain that what you're doing is not going to work. I could be certain that what you're doing is harming somebody. I can be certain that what you're doing is not healthy. But in a lot of those communities, it was like, no, this is ambiguous. And that was just stuff that I saw in church. But no, that desire to focus my life, it took me a while to kind of wrestle with it and figure out what it was for me. And for me, it's a part of my own personal appetite and my own personal ambition. But the biggest transition from being a believer to a Black nationalist to a humanist was that both when I was a believer, my attachment to Black nationalism was just as religious and in many ways superstitious as my attachment was to Christianity. it was having to wrestle through all of that to kind of get to that place where I was just comfortable dealing with life as is and navigating that. Which I still kind of hyper focus. I think I've done over 400 videos this year, and I got started late. You know what I'm saying? So I still hyper focus, but for me, it's been a part of my appetite and my ambition. I'm gonna circle back to the second part of that one because the second part is very juicy. But Kyle, did you have any thoughts on this one?
Yeah. Hey, Will. For me, although much like Darante, I was super connected and deeply into the God type things, prayer, fasting, devotion, spending time with God, especially in the last 8 years of my time in Christianity. Those last 8 years was a super deep dive into all things God, faith, grace. I mean, I would get up, go to my office, spend nearly the whole day in there for a long period of time. I did that for a few years, and then I scaled back a little bit. But anyway, when I stopped, to me it was such a it was just such a big thing. I didn't focus on anything at all after that. I just as a matter of fact, let me say this. I got so detached from it all. Anything that looked regimented to me, I ran away from. I couldn't deal with anything that was regimented, or because I tried to try meditation and different things like that, but they were saying, well, you got to get up every morning, you got to do it at a certain time, or you got to do it for a certain amount of minutes, and I started hearing stuff like that. I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing that. I'm just doing, I would try to pick my own little moments. Oh, I'll do it here today, and I'll do it next week. So I got away from all that, anything regimented. I just know I can't, because it all reminded me too much of this lifelong, at least my most of my adult life, connection I had to this. And a lot of people don't understand this about perhaps maybe all pastors, but maybe a good portion of them for sure, is that this stuff was a chore to us.
Yes.
Now we tried to mask it and make it seem like we loved it, but it was really a chore. It was something we felt we had to do. Did you spend any time with the Lord today? Did you prepare for the message on Sunday?
Come on, sir.
That was a chore for us. And, I just, when it ended, I was so glad it did, because to me, the chore stopped. And I never picked up anything else that, well, let me back up off that a little bit. Today, the hyper focus is on self.
Yes.
That's where the hyper focus is now. I am lasered in on self, trying to motivate self, promote self, drive into the hearing of people just how great, powerful, loving, kind, unique, special, worthy they are as themselves. No savior, no God needed. That you yourself, if you focus on you, if you believe in you, if you come to a sense of worth about you,
yes,
you're an unstoppable, amazing being. So if I have any type of focus right now, it's really on self.
I love that. All right, so before I move on to hit the second part of your question, Will, did you have any thoughts that you wanted to follow up on from anything that Kyle or I said?
I really appreciate both of your responses. I thought it was interesting that you, Kyle, you had this push away from the regimented approach, and which I can definitely see if you're coming from a place where it felt it had become like a chore to focus on. Even, as you said, you didn't want to think of it like that at the time, I'm sure. And you probably didn't even think about it consciously, but subconsciously it was there. You felt that. I didn't quite go through that. I ended up sort of hyper focusing on really atheism, and went through this angry atheist phase, I think, for several years, and I'm at the tail end of that now. I don't know if it'll ever completely go away, but and then what you said, Darante, with hyper focusing on Black nationalism, just something to find the identity that you had lost. Is seems like that's kind of part of what you were saying. So that's I can identify a lot with that, and basically, you know, I really just want to have a better approach, and you know, sort of hopefully anybody that's listening can recognize going down this same path of hyper focusing on something to find something to hold on to, and looking for a healthier approach than sort of the natural path. Although maybe that's just what you have to go through in order to get through this in one piece. So I don't know. I'd love to hear what you think about the hypocrisy subject as well.
Yes. All right. So like this one, and I'm gonna go ahead and drop you back behind stage. Will, thank you so much for being with us. This was an excellent question. This was a fire starter for sure. Okay. So check this out. This is about hypocrisy. So I have to answer this two ways. And so as y'all know, I've been drinking and it's been a long day. So please take notes to help me get back on track when I lose my trail. But so I have to approach this from two ways, because there was two ways that hypocrisy has been defined for me throughout life. The first one is a hypocrite is someone, and I don't go by this definition anymore, but I have to start there. The first one is a hypocrite is someone who says one thing and does another. I'm curious at how many of you have heard that definition. Now, I don't necessarily use that one anymore because that's just folk. That's just people. We all say things and do something different. But when it comes to that, I saw a lot of that. The church was rampant with that. I remember one time I had a very close friend who I discovered was like cheating on his wife. He was a pastor, cheating on his wife with several members of the church, including one of the women who did his wife's hair. You know what I'm saying? And so and the thing is, it wasn't like a secret. The wife knew this had been going on for a very long time. And, you know, I had a conversation with him because this was when I was in the throes of deconversion. I had a conversation with him and I said, hey, how about you just stop preaching on relationships? How about that? I mean, just to keep your hands clean, to keep you in the clear, where you don't have to be one of those type of hypocrites. Just stop preaching about shit that you absolutely don't believe in. Because if you believe this was wrong, you wouldn't be doing this shit, you know? So there was a lot of that type of hypocrisy. Do what I say, not as I do. That did not bother me as much. And it's likely because it was just so rampant. It just felt like it was everybody. It's the second type of hypocrisy that actually bothered me. The actual definition, the applicable definition of the word. This type of hypocrisy happens when a person puts on a mask. Hypocrisy is a word that comes from the field of acting. And so a person who is a hypocrite is a person who is acting. And that's what became very concerning for me. And not even in the way that most people think. I'm going to take you there for a minute. It became highly alarming to me that the members of my church were acting like they were helped when they weren't helped. You know what I'm saying? It became concerning to me when members of my church were acting like something had made them feel better, and they still actually wasn't better. It began to become clear to me that church was a place for actors. You know what I'm saying? That's the pressure of church. It is the pressure to pretend. This is why we think people are getting better, because everybody has to pretend like they're getting better. Everybody comes in and puts on the mask. I call it the hallelujah syndrome, because nobody knows what the fuck the word means. But if you spend 3 weeks in somebody's church, you're going to be hallelujah. Like that's your fucking second language. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And if somebody pull your country ass to the side and say, what does the word mean? You won't have a fucking clue. And that's what the church experience is like for so many people. And that absolutely broke my heart from a 360 perspective. It broke my heart that the people I'm leading are pretending like they're getting better when they're not, because that means I've been judging my efficacy by an illusion. You know what I'm saying? I've been judging whether or not I'm effective by this placebo effect that they've committed themselves to. But then on a 360 focus, it was also my leaders, my mentors. It's like, oh, so you pretending to know this shit and you really don't know. Ain't read the first book about canonization. You know, that shit started to bother me. That's the first hypocrisy, the first kind. That's the one everybody's familiar with. People say one thing and do another. That don't bother me that much because that's just people. But this other one, where you're wearing this mask, pretending like you are this thing when you're not, to me, that's the most dangerous kind, only because I know what my story is. I looked at pretenders and thought they were real and wanted to be that. You know, I never wanted to be Superman because I knew it was fiction. I never wanted to be Batman, even though he was more realistic, but it was still fiction. But when you see people like Bishop Jakes as a young black boy, Bishop Noel Jones, you know, you say, oh, that's something I want to be, because no one's honest enough to tell you, oh, that shit is fiction. You want to be a pimp. That's what you're trying to be, sir. That is what you aiming for. And pimping ain't easy. I'm sorry, I had to throw that one in there. I just had to throw it in there. Oh, man. But Kyle, do you have any thoughts about the hypocrisy aspect? Did you see, like, I think we all know the answer, but have you seen any hypocrisy in Christianity?
Well, yeah, obviously it's hard not to see it. And
yes.
when I was in the church, they would always say stuff like, or people out the church, they would say, I'm not going to church because you guys ain't nothing but a bunch of hypocrites.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'd be offended, like, what are you talking about? We're no hypocrites, but we were. And, and although I generally stay away from politics, although I did get slightly engaged in the last cycle to my bad Kyle,
understood.
Better judgment. But anyway, I don't think that we need to look any further than the church's acceptance and unwavering support for the president-elect.
Yeah.
And I think that the reason why it is because I think it gives pastors the sense of, well, if they believe this guy came from God and he has all these flaws, well, it gives me a pass.
Yes, sir.
Because there may not be a place on this planet where there's so much sexual deviancy going on than in the church.
Come on, sir.
So
that's a whole episode.
Yeah. and so I think that the Trump phenomena kind of gives pastors that sense of that past, that, they're making people in their congregations see this acceptable behavior. Oh, that's no big deal. It's not about that. Don't focus on that. You got to focus on the call. What are you called for? This is God's choice. I'm God's choice. Don't that's insignificant. That doesn't matter. I'm called, I'm chosen. He's called, he's chosen. That's the focus. So I think we don't need to look any further if we want to see hypocrisy as far as what they say. They're supposed to be for morality. They're supposed to be for decency and family and all those kind of things. And their choices don't support that at all.
Man.
And let me say, I would be saying this no matter who the choice was. If it was a choice on the other side who had the same moral, compass as he does, and they had went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over that person. So it's not a Republican or Democratic thing for me. It's the person,
Yes.
Because I don't, the thing was, you had other Republicans you could have chosen. So it's not a Republican Democratic thing to me. This is the person you chose.
This is what you chose.
The person. And I would expect the church to rebel against the person's behavior and lifestyle and choices. but they've embraced it. And I've heard over and over again, he doesn't have to be perfect. He just has to be called, and he's called. And I think that
Oh my
is
goodness.
what pastors said. Oh, okay.
Yep.
I see it. I see a way here for me to kind of wiggle into what I want to be and do.
Yes. Yes. Oh man. We got a super chat. Thank you, Norbert. Man, it is always a pleasure, brother. We appreciate you so much. He says, just a thought. The truth cannot be debated. Only ideas, opinions, and beliefs. So let's simply have a conversation. Love you guys. Thank you, Norbert. And that's why I do love the work that we do. That's why I was absolutely excited to partner with Kyle, because Kyle is educating folk on TikTok. If you're not following him yet on TikTok, I don't know what you're doing. You need to get out there.
That's right. What are you doing? Let's go.
Let's go, man. Because he's doing some great work. And that's the thing. Like, what we're doing is we're creating conversations, because conversations build communities, right? And that's what I absolutely love, man. Well, y'all, listen, we have enough time for one more call. If you can get it in within the next 5 minutes. If you can get it in within the next 5 minutes, we would absolutely love to take your call. And let me make sure, because I see I have not been looking at the chats. All right. Had to wait for the right time. No, y'all did good. Y'all are doing excellent. Please, y'all. Okay, so let's check this out. In February, none of the people who were part of this community did I know. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know Kyle. I didn't know the other Kyle. I didn't know Alyssa. I didn't know Dale advocating for me. We know none of these people, and none of y'all know me. You know what I'm saying? And now, like, we're going into the second year of things, and we are building just literally a vibrant, pressure-free community. And this is beautiful. I love what the internet has allowed us to do. Kyle, I was talking to our Sunday sessions crew earlier today. Actually, no, it was yesterday, because we had a community development meeting. Talking to them yesterday about how frustrating being a pastor was. Because there was the attendance and membership felt like it was tied to my ego.
Oh my, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
So if people ain't showing
there this week, they don't like me.
Yes, sir. Yes. Come on, man.
Right?
Yes.
If we had smaller congregations, so we knew somebody
yes.
was there.
Come on now. That's right.
I know I did. I took that shit personally.
Yes.
Personally. It hurt me
man.
when people didn't show up. I'm thinking, you didn't want to come hear me?
Come on.
You didn't want
yes,
to come
sir.
hear me? Why not?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man.
Definitely tied to ego.
Yes.
As a matter of fact,
put Muttley's back up real quick, y'all. You go ahead. Yep.
When I was deeply into the Word of Faith, and I thought that I was going to be the next Frederick Price.
Oh, Apostle K.C. Price. Yes, sir.
K.C. Price. Yeah, I thought I was going to be the next one, in the regards of building a faith dome or something of that nature, right?
Yes.
And at the time lived in a town called Patterson. It's in New Jersey, and it's a pretty, some parts are pretty rough, but definitely very urban.
Ooh. Yeah.
And not a lot of economic wealth in the town. I think it's the second biggest town in New Jersey, maybe the third biggest town in New Jersey, but not a lot of economic wealth. So, there's a lot of pockets in Patterson that are really struggling.
Yeah.
And, because of all the words, the unfulfilled words, even at that point, that had never come to pass, that had been spoken over me.
Yes.
And when I linked into the faith message, I thought, okay, we're gonna build a faith monument for God in this city.
Yes.
And what I was saying was, when people look at this building, they're gonna say, "Look what faith did."
Yep.
When in actuality, my heart was really saying, "Look what Kyle did."
Come on now. Yes, sir.
I didn't see it at the time until I got out of it and was like, you just wanted to erect a monument to your ego. Because it's going to be based on, the testimony was going to be based on my faith.
That's it.
I believed, I trusted, I fought the good fight of faith.
That's right.
I stood on the word, You know, it was going to be a testimony about what I had done anyway. So
Yes.
deep in the psyche of it all, it was really saying that I wanted to build a monument to my ego. That's what I
Man.
wanted.
Ooh. You know, it dawned on me, especially in the work that I'm doing now, it dawned on me like how backwards that is to be upset that somebody didn't feel the need to come to the hospital. You know, like we say this is the hospital, this is what a sick come to get well. But if you don't feel the need to come to the hospital, we mad at you.
Yeah.
We mad at you because you're not sick. Like this
Why
is
didn't come get a needle? Come on, everybody likes needles.
it's amazing. We had 2 more super chats, so I'm going to read them real quick. Carla J, thank you. We appreciate you. It's much appreciation for your truth and honesty. Listen, that thing goes both ways. Much appreciation for your support and just for being here. And then we had one from Muttley. Yes, to strangers becoming community, love and sausages. Man, y'all are absolutely amazing. I love y'all. Man, Muttley been rocking with us for a minute now. Like he's become one of my favorite people in the world. I got a lot of favorite people, man. This is how it goes.
That's how it goes.
Oh my goodness. So this conversation got good. All right. Anybody who wants to get a call in, let me make sure I'm not missing any messages. We have okay, so we got caller 3 is coming. So I got to stall a little bit then. All right, so let me do this then. So Kyle, guess what?
Yep.
Over this year, we're going to take this experience that we've been doing on Sundays on the channel, and we're going to 4 on-site locations. So in April, we're going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're going to rent out some space. We're going to do a live Bible study with an ex-pastor, live Sunday session, and live ex-pastor call-in show. Nice. There's going to be food. There's going to be festivities. We're going to be working with Drew, who was on with us last time, to do a post-faith house party. And I've heard that those are quite sinnerific. So I'm very interested to see how sinful these things go. And so we're going to do that in April in Raleigh. Then in the summer, we'll be either in Detroit or Chicago. And then in the fall, we'll be in Portland. And then in the winter, we'll be in it's either going to be LA, Los Angeles, or San Francisco. So North Carolina or North Carolina.
Somewhere warm.
Right? I know it, right? So here's my question, Kyle. If we hit our funding objectives, can I get you at these events for the live ex-pastor with the call-in show?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's about to be off the damn chain, man.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, see, look, that just triggered another super chat. So let's see what this one is. Yeah. See, people are excited. All right. Let me see. This is Practice IT with Jeremy Leak. I love that. Thank you so much for your support. He says, glad to, and I don't know if it's a he or she, I'm sorry. I'm assuming he, but I got to stop making assumptions. Glad to spend part of my birthday with you guys. Always some new insights from the show. We really appreciate you, man. That is absolutely beautiful. And happy birthday.
Yeah,
you know, if it wasn't rude, I'd ask you how old you are, but I won't do that. But I'll tell you what, there's a song by a group called Lawrence, who I've fallen in love with, band. But they have a song called And Many More, and it's based off because their grandmother used to say, and many more at the end of the song. But so they turned it into a beautiful song. So if you've never heard it before, Practical IT with Jeremy Leak, go check it out. It's a birthday song. That's a free birthday present from your boy. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. So let me check and see what we got going on here. I have to go over and check the private chat. All right. They're working on the other caller. Just wants to ask and have you all answer. That's fine. Yep, that's fine. The other caller just wants to ask the question and have us answer. Speaking of which, wasn't there a question that we were supposed to get to last time that we didn't get to? And I'm asking the team. If y'all don't remember, you can just say I don't know. Y'all don't got to pretend. Y'all ain't got to pretend. Don't be digging deep and you can't find it. Don't even work the brain cells that hard. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. We getting old. We ain't got time to be killing brain cells at this moment. Oh man. All right. So while we were waiting on what's going on with our third caller, this has been an excellent show tonight. This has been a movement, Kyle. And as a moment, like I'm wrestling, especially after last week, or last month rather, like we got to get some more people involved with this. So it's possible that the next year we may go from just monthly to weekly. Now, if that happens, before you get scared, when that happens, the goal would be to have a rotation of folk on here, so that we're still only on once a month. You know what I'm saying? Because life be lifing, right? Like, ain't nobody got time for all of that now. You know what I'm saying? Oh man. Oh my goodness. Let me see.
Yeah, when I was committed, I was doing a Monday show with another guy, a Tuesday show with another guy, a Thursday show with another guy, or that was a group. So we had like a call in, and then a Sunday part. So, you know, I was on Facebook Live 4 days a week, and but I do remember when I started losing the last bit of my faith, I dropped everything except for the Monday one, because, you know, that was my boy, and you know, we had kind of started that together and had nice little following, and we actually got together on a live event, kind of like what you're talking about. So I'm familiar with that whole thing a little bit. So it was really good. But when I felt like I didn't have anything else to say in that arena, you know, I said I gotta stop. And then when I stopped and I wasn't doing anything, I was like, oh boy, that's nice. You know, I didn't even realize that had become regimented for me as well. So that's why I'm kind of anti, you know, I'm a little like closed off to you know, a regular kind of thing.
Yes,
Because
sir.
I'd done it for so long, and I just felt so burnt out, I guess. Once I finally stopped, I realized how burnt out I was. So now I just do interviews when people ask. This I do once a month, and I like it for now. I like it. So,
Yay.
you know.
I'm excited. But no, I get that, because that's a real thing. Like I know when we talk to our community, one of the things I'm really intentional about, which I think we had this conversation today, as a matter of fact, is honoring volunteers' time. Like a major part of our vision, if you will, is being life affirming. And that's not just about lifestyles. It's also just about, like, people have a fucking life. Like, so we shouldn't be creating things that demand people give us, you know, 40-hour commitments when you ain't paying them shit, you know, like that's just weird. But church did that, so much so to the point that, you know, volunteer end up equaling human sacrifice. Like, if you're volunteering for the church, you're the human sacrifice, you know. You have to sacrifice your life, your time with your children, your time with your family, your time with your loved ones, time with your friends, your interests, your hobbies, all of those things. And that's one of the things that I do caution the secular community about, is that we need to be very intentional about how we structure what we have. All right, so it looks like we actually got another caller. Do we have two callers? Let me see it. Question is, I'm just going to put this on the screen. If this is the wrong one, y'all just holler at me. But we have a question. Is it weird to adhere and honor our ancestors' admiration? How does epigenetics play a part on the trauma from religion? Now, y'all let me know in the chat. Is this the one where the person is not coming on? They just want us to answer the screen? Blah, blah, blah. Answer the question. I'm going to assume that that's right. It's for me. All right. So, is it weird to adhere and honor ancestral admiration? How does epigenetics play a part on trauma for religion? And just to kind of give everybody an idea, epigenetics refers to how your behaviors and environment can cause changes that affect the way your genes work. Kyle, do you want to tackle this one first? I'm a sociologist. I don't do hard science. Now let me stop.
Yeah, I think for the epigenetics part, I think you know, Bruce Lipton is really big on this topic of epigenetics, and it's just really centered around the idea that we can change based upon our environments, and our brain cells can change, and our genetics can change, and things like that. Something that was once unheard of or unthought about or said to be impossible. Like, you know, you can't change your genes. Um,
Come on.
Now, I think there is something to be said about trauma that's passed down and what it does to our genes. And I think it definitely plays a role, especially in the genetic makeup of generations, right? So if a group of people, like say my family, we were deeply immersed in this environment, and this environment created within us a sense of feeling as if our DNA had changed and we had become something different that we hadn't really become, but we convinced ourselves we have. And so we tried to behave and act and live as if we did. And
Yeah.
then, like for me, now that I'm out of that environment, I kind of went through this other change where, wait a minute, I'm not that, and I'm not this, and I'm not this, I'm this, and this. So I think it does play a part in it, because so much of what our makeup is determined by our environments and our
Yeah.
surroundings, and what's affecting it from the outside, and how we adapt in these different arenas. And as far as our ancestors adoration is admiration, it's funny, because when you think about our ancestors, and in a
Yeah.
Christian sense, you can't talk about ancestral connections.
Yeah.
That's
Come
up to
on
them.
now. Yes. Yes.
But yet we pray to a man that died 2,000 years ago.
Come on,
we
sir.
we
Yep.
talk to a man that died 2,000 years ago and believe this man is alive forevermore. So
Yeah.
if Jesus is alive and evermore and allowed to be talked to, and is up in heaven,
Come
ain't
on now.
grandma, ain't
Come on now.
granddaddy, you know? So and that's how whacked out the whole thing is, because they had to keep Jesus so separate from everything else and everyone else. When you I said this once before, when you die, when grandma died, grandma dead
Yeah.
in the Christian world. Grandma dead,
She
you
gone.
know.
Yep.
But when Jesus died, no, Jesus alive.
Come on now. Yes.
you know so
Oh,
it's crazy how that psyche permeates and dominates the mindset of people when you're looking at the same concept.
yep. Absolutely. That's amazing, because I know when I think of the ancestral admiration aspect, that was another thing that was kind of like a kink in the armor for me. Because of course I've told people I went through the Black nationalist Pan-Africanist phase. I'm still a Pan-Africanist for sure, with Black nationalist tendencies. But while going through that phase, it was definitely interesting to start paying attention to how much of our relationship with religion is just based on us having this need to feel that our ancestors were right. You know,
Right.
I have to feel that Big Mama and Big Papa and Uncle Joe knew what the fuck they were doing, which ends up being a major barrier for deconstruction for some folk. Because many people can look at the Bible, they can look at the claims of the Bible, and they can say, "No, I can clearly see this is bullshit." But where the problem comes in is, but grandmama is the person who gave me this bullshit.
Right.
And I ain't no way in the hell I can call my granny a liar. You know what I'm saying? Like that's and what, like that feeling, that's a part of that ancestor admiration. It is definitely something that I'm doing a lot of more research into, because and that's why I love the way this question was phrased, because it does play into the second part about the epigenetics, because memory is fascinating. Kyle, you mentioned neuroplasticity, which is like one of my favorite subjects in the world, which is this idea that our brains and our neurons are constantly changing.
Yeah.
They're responding to stimuli that we encounter. And memory is a part of that. Like there's some studies out there now that shows that memory can be passed down to almost 7 generations. And when you think about that and what kind of role religious and how that plays a role in religious trauma, then much of the fears that you're thinking, like, and I'll just speak from the context of a Black man in the South. Most of those fears of hell are probably coming from memories of ancestors who've had to survive hell just to live. You know what I'm saying? And so it's that fear, but we see that a lot, even outside of social context. We even see that with people who have unsubstantiated fears in certain animals, like dogs or spiders or something like that. We end up finding that in many cases, there's this epigenetic type of rationale behind it. So thank you for whoever asked that question. I don't know who asked it, but we do have another question. So we got our last question of the night. Well, let me make sure there's a lot of chats in here. Okay. All right. All right, so is it two chats left? All right, so we got 2 calls. Yes. All right, we're gonna do our last 2 calls of the night. We have Tevin. I might not be saying it right. I've been drinking Tevin. Don't blame me. Blame it on the blame it on the alcohol.
Oh, I
Right,
hated
let's
that
see
song
here.
when I was a pastor. Oh,
Right? Yes.
oh my God, I hated that song.
Oh man, what about okay, Tevin, we're gonna pause you just for a moment. We'll bring you up in a minute. Do you remember when Chris Brown came out with These Hoes Ain't Loyal?
Yeah.
Jamal Harrison Bryant preached the whole message. That was the title. These hoes ain't loyal. It was hilarious. Like if you ever want to watch a preacher and laugh, Jamal is the one that'll take you there. I promise you.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Tevin, who's from Ohio. Question is it smart for a deconverted Christian to remain in the church for the sake of community if the spouse is a Christian and their father is the pastor? This shit just got juicy. So Tevin, we're going to bring you up on the stage, and we're going to allow you to give us a little context and color for this question. Welcome to the Ex-Pastor Call-In Show. Talk to us a little bit.
Thanks for having me, fellas. I appreciate the time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is definitely a little bit of a I guess you would call it a hairy situation. Yeah, my wife's father is the pastor of the church. I started my deconversion process probably about 4 or 5 years ago, pretty much during the COVID time. My wife is still in. We have 4 children, and I've expressed some of my concerns with the faith with her father, and it kind of drove a wedge in between the relationship even more. So now, back when I was a Christian, we would have theological conversations and stuff all the time, and now we literally don't talk about religion at all, which is not necessarily the end of the world. Like, I would rather just not bring it up because we don't have any, common ground there anymore. And it kind of makes it easier for me to continue to go. But that is our community, like it's, obviously our whole family is a part of the church. And I already know once it was to ever get out that I am, now no longer a part of the faith or whatever the case may be, that sense of community would be non-existent anymore.
Yeah.
So it's been difficult. Even just navigating, when you're knee deep into Christianity, that is your worldview. You're gonna raise your children according to that. Like even that has been an issue now, because obviously once your worldview changes a little bit, some of the things you want to teach your children change a little bit, and you kind of butt heads a little bit when things of that nature. So it's been a little difficult. It's been a little different. But me and my wife, we love each other dearly. We obviously want to make sure this works. I just want to make sure I'm going about it the right way, because I don't want her family to disown her, basically.
Right. For sure. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna hit this a little bit first, Kyle, and then I'm gonna pass it over to you, because this is real, and I don't know if I have as much as an answer for this, as much as I actually have a charge for this, because this is why we do the type of work that we do on this channel. This is why I build Bridge City, while we're building the bridge, is because this is a real issue, and this is something that the church in many ways excels in while getting 100% wrong. And that is, they do have these situations, that they do have these events that are focused on the family. They do have these events that help people have marriage tools and stuff like that. And this, out of all of the questions that I get in my private inbox, I'd say this is probably like 60% of my questions are along the lines of someone being in a relationship while deconstructing with someone who hasn't deconstructed. And then you add on the extra complication. And oh yeah, by the way, my partner's parent is a minister. That's really complicated. But many times that stuff is really easy to navigate in the presence of community. And this is why, like, I'm constantly charging those of us in the secular community to build more and more community that doesn't have to revolve around the idea of atheism. Though, yes, my channel, I talk a lot of shit, and a lot of it is atheist centric, but Sundays is people centric. And so we really need to be building more people centric communities so that families of blended faith can have a place to have community, to have a place where they can grow together. And that's really going to be my biggest input to this one, because this is, to me, when I hear this question, this is just a reminder of how much work we have to get done. But I do want to tip my hat off to you, Tevin, because it sounds like you're approaching this with a sober mind. You're approaching this very considerate of your wife and your children and those familiar relationships. And that's what makes us human. And that's absolutely what I appreciate. So that's my little tidbit. Kyle, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I want to also applaud Tevin, because there's no way in hell I'd be able to do it.
Man,
there's no way. I couldn't sit there and listen to the stuff that literally bothers me to my core, irks me to no end. I can't stomach it. That's how far away from it I am. Now, that has a lot to do with me as a person, where I'm not a bullshitter. So
yeah,
I just can't be around bullshit. Like, hey, there's bullshitting around. No. Why are we here then? Why are we here? That's not what I'm here for. So yeah, Tevin, that's really, admirable that you're able to do that for the sake of the peace of your family.
Yeah.
To which
Right.
I think that is smart.
Right.
That part is
Right.
smart, because again, I'm in a situation where perhaps that's where I'm headed, where she's deeply committed and her family's deeply committed.
Wow.
And they knew me when I was deeply committed. And but I've already made up my mind. There's no way in hell I'm going, and our children aren't going. Should we have any? They're not going. That's your thing.
Right.
That's
Right.
your thing.
I like
But
that. Yeah.
this is us coming in while these two are already established.
Yeah.
So you were there when you both were together. So
Right.
you weren't able to say, well, no, that's your thing. You go do your thing. Me and the kids, this is not our thing. We're gonna do our thing over here. So that's different.
Right.
So yeah, it's I guess it's smart in that regard for the family and to keep the peace. And I would say if you're able to stomach it and you're able to kind of just sit there and let it pass through you, fine. For you, you're a special individual for that too.
I mean, don't get me wrong, man. It bothers me. A lot of the stuff bothers me. It kind of makes me become docile. I'm really not that type of person to just sit there and take it.
Yeah.
Even if I know it's wrong, I'm the type of person to speak up and, let people know about it. But in this instance, I know what it would do to my family and my family dynamic. And I know, when I married my wife, we've been married for coming up on 7 years now.
Wow.
I married her as a Christian, like to
Yep.
uphold the laws or commandments of Christ, love her as Christ loved the church, all that.
That's how they
stuff.
get
And
you.
to throw this monkey wrench in, into you know, it's kind of, I can sense, I feel that it's not fair for her at the same
Yeah,
time.
I get that.
And
Yeah.
I see it like this, man. Look, if I don't agree with it or don't believe in it, um, I can sit it like it is what it is. If it doesn't make me no difference and it's gonna keep the peace,
Right.
why not keep going? That's how I've been looking at it. But it's getting harder and harder to do.
Yeah.
So it's like, at
Yeah.
what
Understandable.
point do I be a
Understandable.
man and just like, hey, I can't do it no more?
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm afraid of that. I really am.
Tevin, how committed is she to to Christianity itself?
I would say, you know, she was raised in it. Her dad's been a pastor her whole life. Now we have had conversations where I've been able to, you know, kind of open her eyes to some things,
Hmm.
which has been great. But
Sure.
also her biggest thing is losing that community as well. You know, that's
Yeah.
her support system. That's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
everything that she knows. So it's
Understandable.
not as easy for her to let go as it was for me, because I wasn't necessarily raised in it. I became a Christian in my teens.
Yeah. The reason why I asked is because the scenario I'm talking about from my life very similar. You know, her parents are pastors, raised in the church like I was, and all that kind of thing. Um, but I know beyond question, she's there because of the
Mhm.
family.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Specifically, she ties family and church together. That's one and the same for her. You know,
Right.
although they're not, but to
Mhm.
her, like
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
Darante was saying,
Well, I would say to
they
all of
connect.
them, it is.
Yeah. Oh
Yep.
yeah. Probably to
Yeah,
that whole
it's
family. Sure.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They connect that. They intertwine those two together to keep that bond together. Although they're really separate entities, and they should be separate entities. But so
Whew.
what I think for her, you know, the person I'm speaking about in my life is, I think when her parents are gone, and you know, it's inevitable. So when her parents are gone,
Yeah.
not wishing
I
them
didn't mean to
to be
laugh,
gone
but yeah.
tomorrow, but when her parents are gone, I think she'll lose part of that. She'll lose a lot of what that connection is, because she's not a dedicated Christian. She's not a faithful Christian. I pick her all the time. You've been in church all your life. You know 5 verses, if that.
Hmm.
5.
Yeah.
You know, you never read your Bible. You never watch outside of your church ministry. You don't do nothing Christian-y except go to church.
Except go to church.
You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
that's why I was asking.
Well, that's like 98% of Christians.
Absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely, without question.
Man.
Yeah.
Quick question for you, Tevin. Are you active in the church?
I was in the band. I would do
I thought
sermons
so.
every couple months. Yeah, I played the bass.
Oh,
I haven't
cool.
played in it's been a few years now.
Really?
Yeah, and you know, it was weird. You know, even when I left and stopped playing, I think they had inclinations that I had doubts and things like that. But when I left, nobody came and said, "Hey, why'd you stop playing?" It was just like,
Wow.
"Whew, glad he's gone." I don't want to stir anything up, you know, among, you know what I'm saying? So it's
Absolutely.
kind of, yeah, it was, that was a little eerie for me. That really left a bad taste, because I was like, man, you know, Jesus, it says, you know, he leaves the 99, go after the one.
Go after the
And,
one.
you know,
Yep.
somebody that's been faithful in the church and doing all the things and saying the right things and walking the walk, they just up and, well, I'm not doing this anymore. And for nobody to say, well, why?
Wow.
Or are you okay? Is there something I can do for you? That was kind of telling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
And
I can
that's
tell
been
you for
years
sure.
ago.
If a musician stopped showing up at my church, I'd be trying to hawk them down. Musicians are priceless. Like that's
Oh
a
yeah, for
that's
sure.
a real thing, you know. Like,
Yeah.
you all right?
Yeah.
You need us to bake you some cakes or something? What we need to do? Tevin, thank you so much for your question. This did stimulate a lot of great questions. A lot of great conversation. I'm gonna drop you back to the backstage,
All right.
and we're gonna get ready for Norbert. I do want to encourage you, if you haven't already, join our Discord, man. There's community growing there. There's over 140 people in there right now, and those numbers are growing week over week. And you're likely to find something that's going to help you kind of make some moves as you're moving forward. And you may even be surprised to find that same type of community space that your wife is also looking for, that may make it easier for her to ask some difficult questions. Because many times that's just about people having that safe space. And as Kyle kind of mentioned, when you've intertwined family with religious ideology, it's really hard to interrogate one without offending the other. So if I'm interrogating my family, I'm offending God. If I'm interrogating God, I'm offending my family. And it puts you in a situation where you're just kind of like at a standstill. But the more and more you all get exposed to community that's beyond those type of superstitious needs, people get freer to really challenge themselves. And I think as long as if we treat it like, no, this is their process, not our process. So this is not me trying to make you come to a conclusion, but it's me trying to make sure that we have spaces that are conducive for you to be your authentic self and share the stuff that's really on your mind. I feel like I can design a whole couples retreat off of this shit, because that's like deep stuff right there.
It is.
That's,
It is.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It is.
Man. Okay, so we got one more caller. And of course, we're excited about this one. Always. This is gonna be, am I clicking the right one? Is the banner in here yet? That's not the right one. There it is. It was my foul. The team did everything they were supposed to do. I clicked the wrong one. This is Norbert. I love Norbert. Him from Chicago. Ooh, which means if we do Chicago in the what is that? The summer, then we'll be hanging out with Norbert. Question: how did you guys break the news of your deconversion to the people closest to you? Ooh, all right. So Norbert, we're gonna bring you on stage to let you ask the question in your own words. Talk to us, brother.
Yo.
Uh-oh, it went out. I was hearing you, then it went away. Uh-oh. Where's the volume? Let me see. It shows that you're unmuted. We're just not hearing you.
Yeah, not hearing anything.
I thought I was hearing it, but then that was Kyle. Let's see here. You can go into settings and make sure it has the right mic set up for you. Let's see here. I'm gonna mute and unmute. Oh man, I'm really looking forward to this one. Can we do a charades call-in show? I like that. Oh, really? Okay, so Sharon said if we go to Chicago, she may make that drive. That makes me happy. Oh man. Norbert, I'm so disappointed, man. I was really looking forward to being able to talk to you.
Sharon also said when we're talking to Tevin, she said, find some good earbuds and listen to music when you go to church.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Right?
That is not a bad idea.
Yeah, that gave me a flashback, because that's what I would do at the end when I was going to church with her. I'd just put on the earbud and sit there. At one time, it was in the summer, I was watching the Warriors game in the finals, and Klay Thompson hit a three-pointer, and in the middle of the message, I went,
There's still no volume from you, Norbert. I see you talking. I just can't hear you.
Yeah,
I know it. It's disappointing, man. It's disappointing. Immolation's discography. Well, I tell you what, Kyle, while he's getting settled, I guess we can still go ahead and tackle the question. And then if we hear him, we'll stop talking and let him talk. But the question is, how did you break the news of your deconversion to the people closest to you? Kyle, how did you do that? And like,
Facebook.
who were those people? You did it through Facebook?
Facebook.
Oh, snap. That's hilarious.
I never had a direct conversation with anyone until they started seeing stuff on Facebook.
Wow.
And then little by little, people started asking questions, but it was, I never made an announcement or anything.
Wow. You know, for me, like I didn't make an announcement either. Let's see, we got Norbert back in the studio. Let's see, did that work? Still no volume. Dang it. I know it, man. Oh, snap. We got to figure out how to mitigate that. But I know I can say what I can say is from this. the first person that I really kind of broke the news to, well, actually, no, it was very, I was pretty much kind of reserved with the information. So what people knew was that I was no longer pastoring. They didn't really know why. For the most part, I spent 10 years in the closet as an atheist. There was one family member that I revealed it to after I went through a situation, and I reached out and I told my aunt what was going on, and then she was like, well, why do you think they're doing this? And I said, it's because they found out that I don't believe in Jesus anymore. And her response was, well, you deserve this to be happening for you. And the thing that she was saying I deserved was to have 7 felonies pinned against me with no evidence. And so for 2 years, I had to fight for my life in the court of law because of the Christian organization that I was working with discovered that I was no longer a Christian. So they decided to make false accusations. Even beyond that, just last year, literally, is when I've actually started announcing it and telling people that, no, this is who I am. And so pretty much everybody found out through my videos, you know. So there was a time that my mother very recently, last year, you know, asked me, what caused you to change, you know? And I just flat out told her, you know, everything that happened. She was not happy with it. But the beautiful thing is I'm at that place where I really just don't give a damn anymore. When I stopped being a believer, I stopped pretending. Yeah. I am living my journey as authentically as I can. And that's really been the healthiest thing for me. As far as people who are close, the only people that really matter for me right now from a family perspective is me, my wife, and my kids. And we all straight, because actually we're all non-believers, so that shit makes it very easy. Very easy. Norbert, were we able to get you in? Still no volume. What's going on? Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, snap. Well, the good news is you can still kind of type in the chat if you had anything extra on that. And then I'm going to go ahead and kind of pass the mic to Kyle a little bit. Kyle, did you have any thoughts on this question?
Yeah, no, I didn't make any.
Oh, well, you did. Yeah, you did.
Mine was
you
just
led this
started
one.
saying things online on Facebook primarily, and people kind of caught on, and you know, we talk now. My family, I think we hear him.
I think we got some volume. Yes,
y'all can hear me.
We got
yes.
Man, y'all can hear me. Okay. Y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. Just cut.
What's up, brother?
Mute your TV.
Okay, mute your TV. I'm gonna mute your TV. Okay, good. Y'all can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay, beautiful. So you elaborated on my question very well, Darante.
Thank you.
You see, I'm smiling right here because I love to see you brothers doing what y'all doing. I came out of this shit back in December of 2023, right?
Wow.
I met you, Darante. Not physically, obviously, but I seen you online. I saw you from the start, from starting in February. I seen you doing your little clips with your phone. I'm like, man, I like how this brother talking. I like what he on, how he think, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna follow him a little bit, and just to see you come from where you came from, bro, like it makes me happy.
Wow.
And even you, Sean, I met you on the interview with not Sean, but Kyle. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I met you with the interview with Harmonic Atheist. I'm like, okay, because it made me feel good to see brothers, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
That came from this shit and came out of it.
Yeah.
And my question that I have for you guys, because my father's a pastor, and I've had conversations with him, and I told him where I am and where I'm at. We've had multiple debates, and it was hard. Like with the first time I had to tell him where I was, my heart was racing, beating fast, you know.
Yes, sir.
So it was difficult, but I let him know where I was, and we've had multiple debates from that time up until now. Now we have conversations where we it was a point where we when I was in it, we had what we call deep, quote unquote, conversations about
Yeah.
God, philosophy, religion, and all this, and we talking about things of life. But that's all we was really doing, talking about life, being
Yes,
men,
sir.
being human. That's what we was doing, but we equated it to God, right? So now I'm at a point in my life where I've had a conversation with him, and he don't mention God. He'll take the words God out and say, "Hey, I had this thought. I was thinking this," and he's like, "I miss the deep conversations that we used to have." I'm like, "We can still have that. Just take
Yeah.
the God shit out of it, because that ain't real. All you got to tell me is, hey, I thought about you, son, and this is what I was thinking about, and this
Yes.
is my ideas on that, and we can have a conversation about it, right?
Absolutely.
Don't come to me with God said this or God said that. No, come to me and say, hey, son, I was thinking this, I was thinking that, and I want this, and I want that. Now we can talk about that. Because God ain't told you shit. Because if he told you something, then tell me something that's going to be profound and edify my life.
Exactly.
Come on
And
now.
that's going to change my life. You know,
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
that's going to make a difference in my life, a real difference in my life, where I can say, hey, man, I didn't know this. Now I can go out and get a job. I can go out and get a car. I can change my credit score because God told me this. Now I'm a changed person and I'm better. That's good. That's powerful. But there ain't no
Yes.
power in no bullshit.
Come on
And
now.
I'm sorry for all the
there you
cursing.
go.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
But
good.
that's
That's a whole
me.
T-shirt right there.
Hey,
Yes.
You know,
Norbit.
what's
Norbit,
up?
let me ask you a question. I'm
Go
curious.
ahead, bro.
Your father's a pastor, so I'm assuming you grew up in it or was connected to it most of
Yes.
your life.
I was connected to it most of my life. Yes.
What was the straw for you that kind of broke it?
Very good question. Very good question, Kyle. I'm kind of drunk. Don't hold me
Welcome
to
to the
that, but
party.
that's a good question. Because my dad got look. My story is this: from from birth to 8 years old, right? My father was a man of the world, right? He got multiple
Yeah.
kids with multiple women. So around about 8 or 9, my father and my mother, they were divorced. My dad got saved. I see him again around about 11, 12 years old. They said, hey, he's saved. He changed his life. He a different person. So 13, I meet him. I'm like, man, this dude is different. He ain't getting drunk
Yeah.
no more. He ain't passed out no more. Like, there must be a God. So at 13, I accepted Christ into my life at 13, y'all. I'm like, 13. I'm with my dad and his pastor. They sit me down. They put me in a chair. They like, you want to speak in tongues? You want the Holy Spirit? I'm like, yeah. Whatever made this motherfucker better, I want to be better. I don't want to be the bad person I saw he was.
Mm-hmm.
So if this made this nigga better, then let's do it. So they sit me in a chair. They praying over me and all this stuff. They speaking in tongues. I hearing them. And I'm like, I guess that's what they want me to do, right? So I mimic what I'm hearing from them, the tongue
Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah.
See, I can do that shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's mimicking, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So we did that. So I felt like, okay, I'm winning now. I'm winning because my dad a better person. Now I'm gonna be a better man. Because before, when I seen the man pass out drunk, putting his hands on my mom, I'm like, this ain't the man I want to be. I'm thinking this at 8 years old.
Yeah.
This ain't the man I want to be. But then now I see him, I'm like, this the man I do want to be. Upstanding, he living for God, so God must be real. And this is all based on emotion. And I told him this to this day. You only changed because you made a series of good choices.
Right.
God didn't change you. You made a series of good choices. And I respect you for that. Because if you didn't do that, then I probably wouldn't be who I am. Right? Because I was involved in a whole bunch of stuff. That's a whole nother story we can talk about. We ain't got time for that right now. But the point is, the question that I was asking you guys, this how it was breaking the news to him, because this was the man that I became to want to be. Now I got to break the news to him. I don't believe in the shit that you taught me no more. I don't believe that because I took myself out of that. I educated myself out of that. Right.
Yeah.
So that's who I am right now. And like I said, Darante, my deconversion is about it ain't even a year yet. So it's about
Wow.
10 months, you know.
Man.
And you were at the forefront of that, bro. I seen you grow. I watched you, and like you already seen me. I've been there for most of the Bible studies with the ex-pastor.
Yes, sir.
And when I told you, I'm like, look, bro, I don't do subscriptions, but anytime I catch you on live, I'm showing you some love.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
do I
sir.
not do that?
Man,
That's what I do.
that's beautiful,
But
man.
we all still learning and growing, and I love to see brothers that look like me that no longer believe this bullshit.
Yes, sir.
And I hope that
Preach,
answered your
man.
question, Kyle, because I went on the
Yeah,
tangent a little bit.
that's okay. It's okay.
I
Thank
love
you.
it. I love it.
Thank you, Norbert.
Thank you so much, Norbert. We're going to drop you back to the backstage,
Okay,
man, brother.
thank
I
y'all, man. Thank
appreciate you.
y'all.
Yes, sir.
Peace, brother.
Oh, wow, man. Dang, this got good tonight. Oh, my goodness. Kyle, before we wrap up, man, do you have any closing thoughts for tonight?
I just want to say you the man. Changing people's lives and shit. You the man.
Man, like it's an us thing, man. Like we're out here together. It's a beautiful world that we're living in, and I'm glad to finally be on the side of just knowing that nope, what we're doing is making a difference. I don't have to pray about it. I don't have to wonder about it. I don't have to ask God about it. I can just measure this shit and know we're making a difference.
See, before, and I'm gonna assume you and I are the same on this.
Yes, sir.
Before, in that other life, if somebody like Norbert would have said, "We help change their life, God towards God," right?
Mm-hmm.
I at least me, I never believed it.
Yep.
I just thought
Yep.
it was just, normal talk. Oh, that was such a great message. Oh, God really used you.
Yes.
It's kind of
Yes.
like, oh, thank you. But you didn't accept it as, oh, wow, I really did that. No.
Mm.
But when you hear it now, because we know what it takes to get out of it.
Yes.
And there's no emotions involved in this. This is
Come on.
not an emotional thing. So that when I heard him say that, I thought, yeah, that shit's real.
Man,
That shit is real, because this is real.
this is real.
When we hear those kind of things people saying now about what we're doing now, we can receive it with a sense of, you know what? That's why I do this.
Yes.
That's why I do this.
Oh man. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm super excited, Kyle. I mean, it's hard to do these because every time we come back to one of these, I'm always overwhelmed and impressed at how well these conversations go, and the different types of questions that people have, and the thoughts that are on their mind. And it looks like we just got another super chat. See, I'm trying to close, and we're getting super chat, so I've got to acknowledge it. Let me go back to my chat side. There we go. And of course, it's from Norbert. Bless you, brother. He said, "Love you, brothers." Man, we love you. We appreciate you. Everybody who contributed tonight, whether you contributed through a super chat, or you contributed by engaging in the chat, or you contributed by asking a question tonight, for everybody who was a part of this experience, I just want to say I thank you. I'm so grateful for you, and I love the work that we're doing, and I'm looking forward to what we're going to do as 2025 comes. Kyle, I'm going to go ahead and drop you into the back while I close this thing out. Y'all show Kyle some love. Remember, he is at Kyle Butler Talks. Is that right? Or at Kyle
Talks.
At Kyle Talks. TikTok, get there. I don't know what the fuck you're doing if you're not there yet. Get the fuck over there, man. Again, y'all, thank y'all for hanging out with us tonight. This is Ex-Pastor Call-In Show. I don't know if you'll ever find a show like this anywhere else, and this thing is growing. As a matter of fact, I was teasing with Kyle earlier this week about possibly extending these experiences to the Discord after the show. So we're going to play with the logistics of that and see what that kind of looks like, because we realize just how powerful these conversations are. And then not only that, but then after doing last month's episode where we had 5 of us up here, we realized that there are more and more ex-pastors who are in this work that we do, which will allow us to kind of maybe make this show a weekly phenomenon without having to overburden Kyle or myself. I don't think either of us are looking to add too many more days to our schedules. So just once a month kind of works well. But if we have a team of 4 to 8 ex-pastors, then this is a show that we can make happen weekly. And if that's something that's interesting to you, let us know. Speaking of letting us know shit, let's go down this list. Tell us where you're watching from, because that's how we're building our map. So city and state, province. If you're across the pond, I don't know what those are because I've never been over there. But whatever's equivalent to a city and state where you are, drop that so we can put a pin in the map for you. And then again, I told you this year we're planning on going on tour, if you will, but it's a community development tour. We're planning on being in Raleigh, North Carolina, April 19th and April 20th. We plan on having one hell of a good time. And if that's something you're interested in, please let us know. If you're in the Raleigh area, let us know, especially if you want to help make this event a success. And I think I kind of hit everything I'm supposed to hit. Am I missing anything? There's always so much going on. Obviously, Bible study with an ex-pastor is this Wednesday. That is also on Spotify now. So check that out. And this coming up Sunday, we'll be closing out our human economics series of conversations, which I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a banger because that's how that shit goes. And I'm really excited about it. I think I've said everything I needed to say. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for supporting this show. If you haven't already, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that alert notification bell. Consider supporting, joining, or connecting with this community channel or content in any way that makes sense for you. We do have a poll in the chat where we're just simply asking you, is this your first time being with us, or are you a returner? That little information helps us learn how we're growing and how we're moving. So if you haven't submitted your poll, let us know. No, don't let us know. Just do it. That'll work better. And check out our merch because we have really dope merch. You can see one of my books, Over This Shoulder, Memphis. That's a novel. Check it out. Also, Black Non-Believer Next Door is out, and Christ Held Up. Now, I think I'm done. So listen, until next time, keep rising, stay progressive, be the bridge, all the other stuff that we say, and stay beautiful, but only if you can. We'll holler at you later.
I was living my life in the servitude of misunderstandings of people I loved. Giving it all, it was never enough. Because of the fall, I could never get up. I moved on from their misunderstandings. I am no longer standing under them. I was drowning, now I swim. 'Cause I found the strength within. I don't need your absent friend. 'Cause I got this, yeah. 'Cause I got this, yeah. 'Cause I got this.